The Detroit Lions go into their Hall of Fame game where we won't see any starters, but we will see a bunch of the young guys that are pushing to make the team. And it's actually a good thing for them because they get an additional game to make an impact and make a name for themselves, really stand out so that they could potentially make the team or the practice squad. Now, it's going to be a lot of people, a lot of good players that don't make the team. The Detroit Lions have to decide if they're going to go with 4 wide receivers or 5 or 6. I think they go with 6, but they've surprised me before. I think last year they went with 4, and then they added a 5th at Tim Patrick off the practice squad when they signed him. So I don't know what they're going to do, but I know it's going to be very difficult. But we knew this day was coming. We knew that it would get more and more difficult. It would become harder. The better your team is, the better the players that you cut is going to be, right? And the harder these decisions are going to be. But we got our hands via Detroit Sports Podcast on Twitter, the first unofficial depth chart heading into the Lions Hall of Fame game. I think this is going to be quite interesting. You're going to see a name that stands out. Let me get the soundboard already ready because you know it's coming. Let's take a look at it. All right, so according to the unofficial depth chart, you've got the offense that's going to be wide receiver. It's going to be Jamison Williams, St. Brown. You have Taylor Decker as the left tackle, Christian Mahogany as the left guard, Graham Glasgow as the center. That was announced earlier today that he's going to take over center duties. That's probably going to be that way during the season as well. That's a lot to put on a rookie. You got to call out coverages and stuff like that. So I think that is probably the right decision. Now, will it stay like that? We'll see. Tate Ratledge is going to take Grimm's spot. Then you have Penei Sewell. You have Sam Laporta, Tim Patrick, Jared Goff, and David Montgomery. So right now, and I think that that's what we all thought it would be going into the season. We did not think that Isaac Tesla was going to come in. I don't think he's going to take Tim Patrick's spot. I think Tim is going to be 3. The second team is going to be, the depth, right? You're going to have Khalif Raymond, Tom the Legend Kennedy as wide receiver. You've got Dan Skipper. You've got Mati. You have Kingsley, Awasika, Jamarco Jones, Brock Wright as the second tight end with Isaac Tesla, and the underline indicates rookie. Hendon Hooker as the number 2, and Jahmyr Gibbs as the second. But we already know that like the number 1 and 2 are interchangeable. Like at any time you could have 4 wide receivers or whatever. So the first and second kind of depth, or we'll use string for this for the sake of this video. Those are interchangeable. So you can see a lot of those guys in and out. Now, here's where it gets interesting on offense and defense as we go in a little later. You've got the third string, or the third depth is going to be Ronnie Bell, Dominic Levet. I cannot say that for some reason. Giovanni Manu, Michael Neese, Tristan Colon. You have Kobe Sorsdahl, Mason Miller, Shane Zylstra. You have Jackson Meeks, Kyle Allen, and Craig Reynolds. Craig has been getting a lot of time yesterday at practice with the, running the football. Then you've got down here. Now, Miles Frazier is recovering, I believe, from an injury. You've got Jacoby Kenny James. You have Kenny Boya, Zach Horton, Malik Taylor, Sione Vaki. You got Kyle Robichaux. He's been kind of showing out. Jabari Small and Jacob Sailors, a guy we just signed today or last night or something like that. So off the top of the head, without any games being played, I think that this is fairly accurate. I could see a couple things changing, right? You have Kyle Allen versus Hendon Hooker. They're going to try to give Hendon Hooker a chance when it comes to securing that number 2. And then you'll have a quarterback on the practice squad. To think about Hendon Hooker, you can't put him on the practice squad because somebody immediately will come and try to claim him. So he has to stay on the team somehow. So Kyle Allen, you could put him on the practice squad. So I think we'll see probably this as we go further into camp. When it comes to, I think, honestly, these guys over here are in trouble of making the team. Vaki, if he's all the way down here, remember, special teams is how you make the team. So I'm not saying that Vaki is not going to make the team. The Lions traded up for him last year's, meaning 2024's NFL draft, and he was okay. Like, he wasn't great in year 1. So all of these guys over here are, I mean, when you start getting to here, you're talking about practice squad. You're talking about not making the team. Ronnie Bell, out of all these people, a few of them, I would say about half will make the team. Craig, Kyle, between, Shane's going to be there. Sorsdahl, I'm not sure about that. We've seen Michael. We've seen these people come and go. Giovanni Manu, another, I want to say Brad traded up for him as well. So a lot of these, when you get to 3-4, man, that's where it gets a little tough at. But we're going to see. We're going to see. But this is going to be intriguing. I think that you're going to see, I honestly believe that Tesla is going to be wide receiver number 5. And that's why if you add Jackson Meeks and you also add Levet, you're going to have a hard time not having 6 wide receivers. But what they could do is they could put both of these guys on the practice squad. But again, remember, you only have 16 spots. Remember when the practice squad used to be 10, which is crazy to think, but you only have 16 spots. It's probably going to go up more than that too when the NFL goes to 18 regular season games. So you might have to cut down somewhere else to go up here or to add a 6th wide receiver. But these guys are duking it out. Now, the difference is he was drafted, he was not. So would the Lions want to, part with you? We know how Brad is with his draft picks. He doesn't really necessarily want to part with them. But if you're undrafted, kind of like Chase Cota was a few years ago, he can part. I think Chase Cota stood out, but he decided to cut him, and keep Antoine Green, who is no longer on the team. Or maybe he is with an injury thing. I don't remember. All right, now, here's where it gets good. Let's go to defense. Defense, Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil when he returns, DJ Reader, Marcus, I can't stay healthy, Davenport, Jack Campbell, Alex Anzalone. We're going to talk about him in a different video, but it looks like the Lions are not even thinking about extending him. So that's going to be something. Amik Robertson, DJ Reed, Terrion Arnold, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph. Okay, I like it. I like it. I like everything but this. I would much rather see Zadarius Smith right here, but it is what it is. Then we go to Mitchell Agude, Tyleek Williams, Roy Lopez. So Tyleek is going to slide here, no doubt, because Aleem is hurt. You've got Josh Pascal. Dan Campbell said today that he is out to at least the beginning of September. And then when when he's cleared, he's going to need some practice. So we probably will not see him until October. You've got Grant Stewart. Grant Stewart is kind of all over the place. He's all over the place, man. I'm not mad at this, especially with Malcolm being hurt. I think if Malcolm was 100%, he would be here. Grant would be in the 3rd row. Avonte Maddox, Ennis Rakestraw Jr., Khalil Dorsey, Dan Jackson, the rookie, and Maurice Norris. Then you got Al-Qadim Muhammad, Makai Wingo, who is battling an injury, Pat O'Connor. Ahmad Hassanin he probably will slide up here because of the injury to Josh. So that's probably why you saw him taking reps with the second team today. Zach Cunningham, Malcolm Rodriguez, of course. You got Rock Yassine, DiCaprio Budo, Lauren Strickland, and Ian Kinley. So now, if we go here and we're talking about down here, you already know where I'm going. You already know. Let's get him out the way first. With the 96th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Broderick Martin. And I've been trying to tell y'all, there is nothing from this guy. In camp, he's unmotivated from what I've seen. There's no energy. There's nothing there. Anybody along this strip is in jeopardy of making the team. If you are this far down, you are in jeopardy of making the team. That's it. If you are in this strip, you need to have the ultimate value on special teams. That's it. Broderick is not going on a practice squad. That's a waste of space. I mean, the best case scenario is he makes the team somehow, some way, probably because somebody got hurt. Worst case, he gets cut. I could see a scenario where they just say, you know what? We'll cut you. We need a body. We got a spot. We'll put you on a practice squad because we can always cut you later. Nate Lynn coming off a season-ending injury, Miles Adams, Keith Cooper Jr., Chris Smith, Raekwon Williams, Isaac Uku, Anthony Pittman, Ezekiel Turner, Trevor Nowalski, Dan Gilbert, Nick Whiteside, who we signed yesterday, Tyson Russell, and Eric Hallett, who Dan Campbell spoke highly about. Now, focus on this list here. How many of these guys have we seen on a practice squad? quite a bit. Most of these are like practice squad names. Anthony Pittman, Isaac Ukwu, Nate Lynn, Trevor Nowalski, right? These are practice squad people at best. So expect for Broderick Martin, the 96th pick in the 2023 NFL draft, that Brad traded up a 4th and 2/5 to not be on this team. You cannot make the team if you're down this far. It's only 53 spots, and he's not going to make it. When we go to special teams, you've got Jake Bates, Jack Fox, Hogan Haddon, and Khalif Raymond as the return guy. So this is going to be the same. Another year with no competition for Jake Bates, which means that the Detroit Lions are fully invested in Jake Bates and do not think that he needs to be replaced or have any competition replaced. Come on, man. What am I talking about? He don't need any competition. I was doing two things at once. So what do you think about the unofficial depth chart? I think even though it's unofficial, it's pretty solid. It could be a few changes between like the first string and the second string, some interchangeable pieces. I think the first and second list is interchangeable, in my opinion. Any of those guys could be ready to come in and we'll see some playing time. When you get to third and stuff like that, and then fourth, I'm telling you, man, I don't dislike this guy. As a matter of fact, when we drafted Broderick Martin, the only thing I said was, who? That was it. But seeing as how we needed a pass rush, we still need a pass rush. We've always needed a pass rush. Why would we waste a pick on a guy that, like, who scouted this guy? Who scouted? And then to the icing on the cake for me, and this is how I view the game. So this is my opinion. You can have your own. That's the beauty about opinions, right? The what I see is in a year when maybe Brad thought that we were behind as well, that we were what was everything everybody wanted to say, oh, we were ahead of schedule. Maybe he thought we were too, because he didn't do anything in free agency when it comes to a pass rusher. He has yet to really do anything in free agency. As a matter of fact, name the pass rusher that he signed in free agency in 2023. Put it in the comment section. What pass rusher did he sign in 2023? What pass rusher did he draft in 2023? Put it in the comments, both. Put them in the comment section below. Then we get all the way to the championship game, and we still can't touch Brock Purdy. And you might want to blame Jared Goff. You might want to blame Josh Reynolds, and they hold some blame. Goff holds none, in my opinion. Josh Reynolds holds quite a bit. You know who else does? Ben Johnson. You know who else does? Dan Campbell. But you know who holds the most to me is a guy who failed to put this team in any position to get to the quarterback. Put it in the comment section. Also, so you got 3 questions. Who was the pass rusher that we signed in free agency to pair up with Aiden Hutchinson? Okay. If any, who did we draft in 2023 to rush the passer, specifically defensive end? And number 3 is whatever the questions are. Number 3 is who was rushing the passer opposite Aiden Hutchinson in the NFC Championship game? 3 questions. Put them in the comments below. That's why I'm so tough on Broderick Martin. It's not about who was drafted after necessarily, because we don't know who the Lions could have taken. We burn those 3 picks on one guy who has done nothing for our team. And this has nothing to do with Broderick Martin. I don't dislike the guy. I don't even know him. I dislike the fact that we gave somebody somewhere on the Detroit Lions scouting team said, you need to go get this guy. You need to trade up to go get this guy. We still don't have a pass rusher opposite Aiden who's worth 2 cents. And you need to go trade up and get this guy. Brad Holmes could have used those same draft picks on any number of people. And maybe he chooses one that actually can help Hutch out. But we have to settle for 6-round picks with high motors. That's my rant, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Broderick Martin will be the first huge blemish on Brad Holmes' tenure as Detroit Lions general manager. I'm sorry, the second. You know the first? Well, he'll be the hugest. You know what the first blemish is? Trinity Benson. Yeah, that's right. Trinity Benson, the one nobody remembers. This channel is made possible by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. It's because of your support I get to do what I do. You could be anywhere else on YouTube, but you choose to rock with me. Consider checking out fandrivenbrand.com to get your We Have a Hut shirt, because that's all we're going to have as we go into the 2025 NFL season. Also, consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. I don't really like to ask people, like, they don't like to do when people ask them something. I find it better if you don't ask. But you know what? I'm going to think outside the box. We're on a push to get to 40K by the end of the season, and I don't get all of my subs from streaming. So I'm going to need your help to get there. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions. I'd much rather have it this way, though. Not going to lie.